Today, I wanted to talk about addressing issues more properly, um, especially in relationships of all kind, be it friendship, family, business. Um, how to properly address when you have a problem with someone, something they may have said to you or done to you, how to deal with that in a professional or harmonious way so that more feelings aren't hurt, so that an actual benefit comes to the relationship, so that the experience of that quote unquote drama allows for more growth within the relationship you have with this particular person. Um, this has happened time and time again, and it happens to all of us where something bothers us about something someone said to us. Um, it could be simple. It could be something that the person doesn't even know offended you, but it offended you and it bothers you. And many times when something irritates us, it's not like we have some form of warning. It's not like we necessarily always sense it coming. So sometimes it's a shock to us. And when it happens to us, we can feel ourselves wanting to just react and yell and scream. And sometimes we do that. And then there's an argument. And then maybe even a physical fight. Some of us don't react that way. Some of us are not so aggressive. Some of us can be passive aggressive. And so we don't react externally at all. We just hold it in. And passive aggression is something I can relate to. I can relate to being aggressive as well. And I can relate to just being an observer and neutral about a scenario and knowing how to shift something very quickly. I think all of us, for the most part, have experienced every form of emotional reaction, from anger to frustration and so on. Passive aggression is something that I think many of us deal with, because a lot of us just don't communicate to someone when they're bothering us, especially when it's something that we can have an insecurity about, or we don't want the other person to feel some kind of way about what we're saying to them, and so then we wind up holding all of these feelings inside instead of actually voicing how we feel. And that there's a great danger to that, because as we know with passive aggression, things build up and fester. And so the next time that person does something, or maybe years later, they do something simple, but it's a trigger for you, because for you it relates to something they did to you years ago, and then you blow up on them in a way that isn't really necessary. And so what I've come to understand is that I may not necessarily respond right away, because when someone offends you or puts you in an uncomfortable position, it may take you a moment to fully process how you feel about what's going on. It can be like a punch to the face. And so what happens with the boxer? He gets punched in the face. Sometimes you go through a whole round where you're just kind of defending, right? You're not even punching back anymore. But then you go back to your corner and you talk with your trainer, you talk with your coach, and they give you some ideas of how to make adjustments into the next round. And so that's something that I utilize in my life. Is I may not respond right away, because if I respond right away, it may just be an emotional reaction to make things worse. Rather, I may take a minute, and who knows how long that minute is. Maybe that minute is literally minutes, or hours, or days, or months, right? Sometimes you don't meet up with a person who initiated an issue with you months later, you know? And then you felt no need to say anything or call them before you saw them again. So it can happen in many different time frames, but I take that time to process how I feel about something that bothered me. And I think that's something that's very important for us to learn how to do for ourselves in whatever kind of capacity or way we want to do that for ourselves, so that we don't have energies festering within us that are actually messing us up, right? So you have to ask yourself, what's the best course of action for me, for my life within this given scenario? Especially if it's somebody you're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I think when it's someone you deal on a daily basis, even more so, it's that much more important to communicate what bothered you. I think if you take it upon yourself, if it's a kind of scenario where you don't voice it, then your only other option is let it go. You know, some things you realize, okay, maybe the person really didn't mean it, or maybe they did, but now you know what you know, that this person can come at you in a way that you don't like, and so you have to make those adjustments, just like a Mayweather move in boxing. Okay, you got me that round, next round I'm gonna make an adjustment. Same thing happens with students I teach. I may have a student who gets out of hand and talks to me in a disrespectful way. And so this just happened about a week ago, where I had a student say something a couple times that I didn't like the tone of voice. It was disrespectful. And in that moment, it was not best for me to have a response, the kind of response I wanted. So I just was quiet. But I knew I was processing the whole scenario. And now the next time I'm in that kind of situation, if it even happens again, I will have the adjustment. And so I think a lot of what I'm coming to in this message is make the necessary adjustments within your relationships through communication and behavior, through your stance and your mindset and your perspectives. Make those shifts. Don't allow it to fester and act like it doesn't bother you, because we do a lot of that. Oh, it's not a big deal. But then one day you blow up. So, get things early. Knock them out early and keep your relationships as harmonious as you can. That's the word of the day. Harmony within relationships through communication and adjustments and balance within our relationships. Yeah, peace.